Okay, so welcome to Heart Center Conversations. This episode, this session, I'm so excited about. So I have Siobhan Lou, who does breath work, and this has been my most anticipated. So I was telling her earlier that I'm just so excited for me, for my own self, to have this conversation with you. So welcome to my little
Thank you.
podcast, Heart
Thank
Center
you so much.
Conversations. Yeah. So let's just get started with you telling us about you.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm originally from Scotland, but I've been living in Australia for the past coming up 12 years now. And I moved to Australia to become a sports coach. And that was kind of my initial work here. I was in the sports coaching industry for like 15 years or something. And then met my partner. We did a lot of traveling. And then I went to Bali, where me and him were kind of managing a gym there. I got introduced to breathwork meditation. I did one session. It completely blew my head. And as soon as I got out of the session, I was like, why does no one know about this? And then I went and did the training with David Elliott in New Mexico. And then but had to get the visa, so came back to Melbourne and brought this work back to Melbourne. And ever since then, so that was 2 years ago now, I've just been doing it in person. And then obviously because of lockdown, I had to move online, and now I'm back to doing both, which was amazing. I actually had my first in-person session last night.
I saw that.
It was incredible. So I'm actually still like buzzing from that session. So it was really lovely. Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
That's my mini journey.
Yeah, but 2 years, so it's just been 2 years.
Yeah.
So are you still doing like the sports coaching and sports training?
No. Breathwork takes up. No, I shouldn't say takes up because I'm obsessed with it. But breathwork, I spend my time doing breathwork. So yeah, I really love it.
That is awesome. So I just want to tell everybody how I found you, because it would seem odd that this little Kansas girl would be talking to someone from Australia. But I too had my first breathwork session probably 3 months ago, maybe, and just blew my mind. And I've been teaching yoga and, meditation and Reiki and all of this for, a little while now. And I've known about breathwork because I was introduced to it from someone like maybe a year and a half ago. And I tried to do it on my own, and couldn't do it. So I was going to someone that was helping me with some trauma issues that I had. And in that, she was like, we're going to do a breath work. And I was like, yes, I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah.
For me, I've always known that the stuff that I hold on to is so deep that even trying to let it come out, it just wasn't. I was trying all these different techniques and nothing was getting released. And when I did that breathwork session, it freaking blew my mind. So I too got done and I was like, oh my God, I have to do this. So I started like looking up everyone, and it was so similar to the woman I found, Amy Kurtzky.
Oh, I think I've actually heard of her.
She's also studied with David Elliott. And so so I found her, who taught her David Elliott. So I got on YouTube and David Elliott, and I found you because you were in training. And so I was like watching all the videos, just watching everything. And I was just like, okay, so I've signed up for David Elliott's training, which starts in February.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
So excited.
You're going to have the best time. Is it online or are you doing it in person?
It's
online. Okay, that's all right. You're still doing it. And is it level 1 you're doing, or?
I'm going to do all 4 levels. Like level 1 is in February, 2 in March, 3 in April, and then 4 in June. And so I wasn't even going to go in person because he wasn't offering an online for level 4 yet. But then he said, I'm going to offer a level 4, which is great for me because I'm like, it saves me money, being in Kansas and all. But so I'm so excited. cannot wait. And I want to talk more about your experience. So you said like the first time you did it, it just like blew your mind. What was it about that first breathwork session that was so profound for you?
Probably the physical sensations that I was experiencing during it. I was like, how, like, this is going back to my very first session. So my train of thought then is very different to how it is now. But the first session, I was like, why is my body doing this? Why am I getting all these realizations? Why are all these messages coming through to me? And as soon as I finished, I felt like I lost pain. I'm like, what happened? I felt like my whole headspace cleared, my body had kind of cleared out. So it just felt, it completely changed my life. And as soon as I kind of came to the Shavasana at the end, it just came straight through to me that I needed to share this with everyone I knew, because I just couldn't believe I'd never heard of it before. And that one session just completely, the first 3 sessions, I'd say, completely changed my whole life and my whole kind of where I was going with my life. So I just wanted to share it with everyone, because it's just, I mean, it's your breath. It's so crazy and it's so powerful. So and that's why when I did the recordings on YouTube, I thought, hey, I might just record my experience, because this is going to be so hard for me to explain to people, because I still do find it challenging to explain to people. So I'm going to record my journey to ensure that people understand where I'm coming from. They know I've done the training, I've been on the training, you know, they know how I've changed throughout the training. And that's kind of that's why they were on YouTube. And I've just done that ever since. So every time I kind of do a breathwork session, I try and share it with my community, and we have a little like Facebook group and stuff. And it's really powerful to kind of share your story as well. So people, so people have an idea of how it works, because it's so new here in Australia. I think I was the first person to bring it to Australia. I'm sure there's more people doing it now, but no one had any idea what this type of breathwork is. So they knew what breathwork was, but like David Elliott's is a different style. So
have you done other breathwork?
I've done things like box breathing and like following the breath. I've done yoga, but nothing like this. And it was funny because when we first did the session, it kind of got explained to us. I was like, cool, we're just gonna like standing in a circle and breathing, and it'll be fun. Because I was like, I meditate every day, I was just expecting it to be this like fun, relaxing meditation. And afterwards I was like, what just happened? What was that?
So I've been teaching yoga since 2008, and in the last 5 years have really focused on trauma-informed yoga.
Oh, so lovely.
About, what happens to the body when we have, a trigger, when we are activated. And so I have been teaching for the last 5 years, to deactivate the body, right? To like get the body in this parasympathetic system, and then now I'm in this breath where I'm activating the system, and it's like shit, what? And so I have a lot of friends who are yoga instructors, and one dear friend of mine that as soon as I had the session, I like said, you have got to do this, and I showed her the breath, and she said, nope, I'm not gonna do that.
Really?
Because she's just so like, I tried it, and just a little snippet of it, and it's just like, she was like, I could feel myself getting activated. And so we just spent the whole week together last week. And so she's like, I was like, I'm going through training, so you're gonna have to do this. Like, I'm not gonna force you, but
so
she's
I need to practice.
She's slowly getting to that point where like, okay. And I was trying to explain to her why I liked it so much. And it was because, like your body just does what it does and what it needs to do. And with my mind, that is one that stuffs and kind of holds things in, I'm not allowed to do that in this breathwork session.
It's very powerful.
It's very powerful. I am so excited. So tell me about your training, because I did listen to your very first podcast, which you were telling the story, and you said that right after you kind of went and found David Elliott, the person that you did training or did the breathwork session with, she was also trained by David?
Yeah, she was also trained by David as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I asked her where she did her training. And then immediately I just looked up David Elliott and I was like, oh, hey, we had like this kind of 5-year travel plan, which didn't happen. We'll just include New Mexico in that. But we had to come back to Melbourne for visa reasons with my partner, which was kind of a blessing. So we came back to Melbourne and then I flew out to New Mexico by myself and did the training. And then kind of came back and that's when I started doing it. But yeah, the training was, and that was another like life-changing session. I was like, okay, like I've done some breath work. I feel like I've brought stuff up, but the training was, way more intense. And obviously we were breathing every single day and we were kind of switching and taking turns and, learning all about the energies, the different parts of the body that are activated during breath work and why, and just really watching the body and watching other people breathe, was just like a massive learning curve, just seeing the breath and seeing how the body changes, and also just bringing up all our stuff, like we had to be kind of empty vessels so we could hold space and facilitate for other people. So just, each day was like something new and something we were working on and something we were bringing up. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but we were just bringing up all our stuff. So
Yeah.
it was, that was kind of how each day went. And yeah, we formed like a really close bond as a group because, we were all healing together through that space and through that group. And we got time at the end to integrate. And it was just really nice breathing every day, like just going through those kind of days of really getting stuck into breath work and journaling and talking, it was definitely life-changing. So, but I didn't want to
No. You froze on me. Say that
Oh,
again.
it froze.
You did.
No, I was just, where did I get to?
You were saying something just there at the very end.
Oh, I was just saying, I didn't want to leave. Like I didn't want to
Ah,
leave the course at the end. It was just so lovely and beautiful going through that work. Yeah, we just got really close to everyone. It was really hard to kind of to leave it, but yeah, it was
yeah. I think that's the thing that I will probably miss the most. I'm glad that I get to have it accessible to me, but
yeah.
having that connection with the people and David and that. So did you find that there was like one thing that just kept coming through for you?
In terms of like through my breath work
Mhm.
or oh no, there was like a million things.
Oh
So
no.
many things, like lots of like my main things I kind of and this is how I create my classes because as David will explain in the course, you kind of attract similar people, so people that are kind of going through the same kind of things of you. So for me it was a lot of inner child healing, a lot of heartbreak, and boundaries around like kind of family stuff. So that was my three, I'd say, main things. So that just kept coming up for me in the breath work. And that's how I kind of work through my classes now, because everyone that comes in, it's really cool. When they come into the circle, it's like, oh, me too. We're all very similar.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the energy with breath work. So yeah, I feel like those were my main things, but so many other things too.
So many other things. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
So then when
Yeah.
you got done with training and you went back
Mhm.
to Australia, so did you just jump right in and just start teaching
Yeah.
breathwork?
I did. It was funny. I actually reached out to a heap of yoga studios in Melbourne. I was like, oh, I'm a sports coach. Like I have contacts. They'll let me do it. And they all actually said no, and not in a mean way. They're just like, well, they didn't know what it was. They didn't have space, or they didn't need me there. And I just assumed that I was like, someone will say yes, but no one did. So I was like, fine, I'll do it myself. So I opened, which it was, I don't have it anymore, called the Breathwork Shed. And it was literally a shed. It was a warehouse in the city. And I just set it up myself, and people came, and that's when I kind of started advertising through like Instagram, and trying to get people into it. And as soon as I got the first couple of people, and then obviously they tell people, And like, as you know, that first session is kind of life-changing. So, you know, they will tell a friend and then they come back and do the session as well. So that's how kind of the shed run.
Yeah, I love the name of that. That sounds
Yeah,
so
I
like
know.
organic.
Yeah, it was funny because it was just a shed. And I think one of us said, are we going to like the breathwork
Yeah.
shed? And I was like, oh, wow.
So do you prefer, that's awesome.
Oh, that just cut out there. Sorry, what was that?
Do you do individual like people and then you also do groups?
Yeah, so now because it kind of COVID changed everything I had planned, which worked out well because I was super resistant to doing it online. I'm like, I don't want to do online. I just want to do in person. That's how I trained. And, you know, I thought I would find it really hard, but I absolutely love it now. So now just this, like, as I said, just yesterday, I held my first in-person event of this year. So last year at the start of the year, I was doing in-person only, and I was doing one-on-one and groups. And then lockdown happened and I was groups, and now I'm back to doing offering both as well. So whereas before I would just offer in person, but now I the world that come and do it online. And they're like, what are you doing when lockdowns kind of calm down a bit? Are you still going to be doing it online? I'm like, yes. So yeah, a couple classes online, and then I'll just do a couple of events each month. So that's how it'll kind of work from, and then just go from there.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I have done a couple sessions online, and it's so I've only done the one session in person, and everything else I've been doing is online. So I'm excited to kind of get back on your site and kind of look at some of those offerings that you have to be able to do breath work with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd love that. You should come to the classes. They're good fun.
So when you're doing individual sessions, do people come like continuously, or do they just do like one session, or how does that work?
I honestly, the way I offer it is I just say to them, just come when you feel that you need to come. It's not like set in stone, or, you know, there's no kind of way to do it. I just say when you feel like it. And I think that's just how I put it forward to people. I personally like to try and do my own breath work, like big session, not the daily ones, but like a big session once a week as like an exfoliation to just kind of clear the space. Like I did my own session this morning online. So one of my friends in Ireland held space for me online. So, you know, and then that just is such an amazing way for the rest of my week. And that's how I like to do it. But, you know, I have an online community who breathe with me 3 times a week. So some people use it as their meditation, you know, because they can or don't want to meditate and just do it by themselves. They want to be guided, or they want to be in a group. Some people do it once in a blue moon. Some people only want in person. Some people only want online. So it's just accommodating for, you know, what people in the community kind of need or want, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So how has breath work changed you?
Like so many ways. Just I think the main things, like I said at the start, those kind of 3 things. Like the first thing is probably connecting with my inner child. So knowing where she needed to be seen and heard by my parents. My mom and dad separated when I was maybe 6 years old. And I didn't realize how much that affected my life and my relationships as I grew up. So the breathwork kind of really took me back to that place where, you know, I saw so many visions of myself, like sitting, trying to kind of make myself like look really good and really pretty, just so I could go to my dad and be like, hey, I can't sleep. And maybe he'd accept me more if I kind of, you know, made myself look that way. Knowing how I always like wanted and kind of needed his attention because he was never there. And all this, you know, that's how we are the person we are today, kind of going back and looking at that. And the breath just really showed me how my inner child was now in my life. So it's like, oh, hey, you are this way because of this situation. But if I went back and healed her and be like, it's okay. Like, you were okay in that situation. I'm here for you. I can see you. I can hear you. And you can really heal that part. And that allows you to just address it in, your day-to-day life. Is like, is this me being triggered, or is it my inner child being triggered? So that was definitely one thing. So just, I guess, how I reacted to situations. Definitely a lot about that, related a lot about my self-love and self-worth. Just from always, we all do it, just the love that we crave from whatever parent it was at the time. And the second thing was my boundaries. So creating boundaries around family members. A lot of people would say to me, well, and being Scottish and families, it's important for everyone, but it's just a really strong kind of blood thing. Like, your family's blood, and they're really important to you. And it came through me in the breath. And it's like, if they're not supporting you or they're not with you on the journey, it's okay to cut them off. Like, you do this with other people in your life. So who made up this rule that you have to be close to family members? So that was huge for me. So that was one of the main things. And when I started putting up boundaries with my family, my life just got immediately so much better. So that was kind of the second thing the breath showed me. And the other things were probably more around just like trusting myself and being more confident, and just trusting like the flow of life, like just knowing you're always supported. And whatever's happening is, it's a lesson, or it's a way for you to kind of move forward, in whatever way you're going, like just really trusting. So it definitely, in terms of like trauma, it definitely helped a lot with that, and just really opening up my heart space. So when I did it, I'm not sure if you've ever experienced like the claw hands.
Uh-huh.
So, when I first did my session, mines were like this. And I remember lying there being like, I must be bleeding. Am I bleeding? Like, are my hands bleeding? Like, have I hurt my nails? Because they were so sore. So just knowing that obviously our arms are like an extension of our heart space. So just continuously like going into my heart space and trying to let it go, and trying to really open up like the back of my heart, and and then that's connected to using my voice. So that's the kind of trauma stuff. And then physically, like, I had and this relates to the heart work. I had like a forearm injury for about 5 years as a sports coach, and my arms, my forearms used to just blow up. So they would, anytime I was doing some sort of training or holding weights, they would just go crazy. I saw so many specialists. I paid heaps of money to try and get this forearms, sorted. I get massage regularly. I did one session of breath work. My forearms and my fist blew up. I realized it was to do with my heart space, started working on my heart space. And I've never, ever had this bloody forearm injury, because it was trapped energy. So energy around my shoulders, my neck, my arms. So in terms of physical stuff, that was just a huge release. And especially stuff around like my tummy as well, just the energy and emotions we hold in our belly, like that just changed shape. So yeah, it was so many things changed. Yeah, there's definitely lists. And as I do a session every single time, there's always something else. And the other thing that it actually came through in this morning's breath work that I just did, my grandma was like a second mum to us. So my mum was obviously a single parent, and my grandma helped bring us up as well. So I was extremely close to her. So she was like a mother figure to me as well, more than a grandma. And she passed away maybe 5 years ago now. And every time I do breath work, I pretty much, she was here, comes through to me, or I will like feel her presence, and I always still grieve her. So I still bawl and cry my eyes out, and I just cry and cry and cry, and I let myself, and it always comes through. It's like, no matter if you're grieving a week later, a year later, a month, 10 years later, it's okay to still grieve someone. So I just find that really powerful as well. I'd use it as a time to really grieve, because I didn't grieve properly at the time that she passed away. Like I didn't use that time to really sit in the sadness and the loss of like a mother figure, which came through in my breath. It's like, you didn't lose your grandma, you lost a mum, you know. So grieving was super powerful. So every session I'm still, you know, going through that grief, but it's very lovely. Like I said, you feel really held when you're doing the breath, because it's your breath.
Yes, I think that is probably one of the biggest things that I've experienced, is that every single session I do, I feel like I'm on this like Tempur-Pedic pillow that my body is encased in it, and everything is just supported. My legs are supported, my arms are supported. Like nothing hurts. Like I feel held. Like held by the ground, held by whatever I'm on. And I must say that that's something that I have never felt before. And so it's been like, I think just as excited as you are. I love to see that 2 years from that point, you're still like the energy that comes from you just by talking about it is just like,
yeah, I love it, you know, and I just think like, as much as I want them to, I just think everyone should do it and everyone should try it. And, you know, it's, I just want to share it so much with everyone, because it's really changed my life. And it's a tool, like it's in your body, you know, it's not something you have to kind of go out there and grab, like you can just do it yourself. But yeah, it's pretty life-changing stuff. So
yeah. And it sounds like, you know, when I'm talking to people, like I'm wanting to talk to people who are doing this heart-centered work, like doing their purpose or living their dharma. And would you say that you are now?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Would you say that you were before you found breathwork?
I'd say like I absolutely loved being a sports coach, but I think my thing when I was coaching, I still really wanted to help people. So I would never go into coaching and be like, this is the class and this is what we're doing. I'd kind of be like, how was your day? What have you been up to? And I'd like really listen and kind of be there for them. So I knew that I always wanted to take that step further. And with sports coaching, I never wanted to expand it. I was really happy with just where I was and what I was doing. There was nothing where I wanted to grow. Whereas in breathwork, I'm like, who does not know about breathwork and how can I tell them? You know, like I want everyone to know about it and make it really accessible to everyone. And I'm always looking for new ways to kind of put it out there, whether it's like online or, you know, collaborating with groups or that are in Scotland, because it's not in Scotland yet either. So just trying to, you know, making sure that everyone knows about breathwork.
Right.
Like normal for people as well. So making it a thing that, you know, it's my kind of mission is to make sure that anyone can do it, no matter like how you spend your day or your weekend. Like, you know, I think there's this kind of certain stigma around it that you have to be, which is totally fine if you are, but you know, you have to be vegan or you have to dress a certain way or you have to be experienced in meditation. It's like, no, anyone, if they're open to it, can come and do this if they want to. You know, it's just, so that was kind of my mission to do that. And this is why I used the community I had in coaching to come and like try the breath work, and then just let them tell people and their experience. And that's just what happened. It's so beautiful to watch. Just like soon as their friends, like telling friends, like last night was the first class and I had a whole group of brand new people, beginners, and they're all like messaging their friends and like, you have to try this. You know, so it's love. And I did the same thing. I was like, oh my God, like everyone has to try this.
Me too. That's what I've been telling everyone. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going through this training, but you have to do this. Like, it's phenomenal, like mind blowing, nothing I've ever experienced before. Yeah. So you started a podcast. Did you start that podcast like right when you got back from training also?
No, that podcast is only maybe a couple of months old. I think it's not that. And this is, again, it's like, okay, how else can I share breath work
Right.
with people, So I thought I'd start a podcast, and I just got on a bunch of people that have done breath work, that teach breath work, that know about breath work. I think every single person that's been on my show so far have all done breathwork sessions. So I make sure I ask in every session to maybe share a bit about their experience to do with breathwork. Because I feel like people learn through stories. That's how I learn. I love listening to podcasts. I love listening to other people's stories. And I love learning more about like breath work and plant medicines and Reiki and just everything, everything to do with healing and making yourself a better human. I love listening to it. So and people are enjoying it, and they're learning more about it too. So it's really lovely. And I just want to keep it like a casual show, having a chat, like you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the name of your podcast? And we'll post it down in the show notes. What's the name of it?
Yeah, it's just the Siobhan Lou Show. So really easy.
Siobhan Lou Show. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll post that. Okay. So speaking of plant medicine, because I've also been following you, you are a facilitator with Cacao.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Am I saying it right? So,
yeah, Cacao. Yeah.
Okay, so my wife and I are like on the keto journey, but we often see cacao and we have no idea how to use it. So I was telling her that I'm going to be talking to you, and she's like, "You've got to ask her. Like, tell me about cacao." Did I freeze on you?
Yeah, that's all right. Was that so? Just to tell you about cacao?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Tell me, how do we use it? Why is it important? Like, why do you love it so much? Like,
I know, I'm very obsessed with it. So I got introduced to, it was funny because when I did David Elliott's course, all I heard was people talking about like Mama Cacao, the cacao spirit, cacao. And I feel like, I always say the universe will just give you little hints and they'll get bigger and bigger. And then the second one was one of the girls I really connected with, Cassidy, on the course. She was a cacao facilitator, and she was emailing me about it and what it is and what it does. And I saw her kind of posting a lot about it. And then one day she just emailed me. She's like, "Look, you just have to try this. Just go and order a block. I think you're going to really love it and resonate with it." And I was like, okay. So I just did it. There was no like question about it, because I just really clicked with her on the course. And she's very intuitive, does breath work. So I just thought, okay, well, she just clearly knows that I'll love it. She was right. So yeah, I ordered it, got my first block, and the first session I did was like so you get a daily dose and a ceremonial dose. So similar to breath work, you have like daily breath work practices and kind of like the big class session. So the first session I did was the bigger dose, the ceremonial dose. And I drank it with my partner, and we kind of, set it up as if we were setting up breath work. So we kind of like cleansed and saged our space. We had and we just set up the cacao, and we were, you really set an intention, whisper into the cup, and you kind of sit there with it. And just kind of listening to the body, because it really helps with that deep inner work. But I had the cup, and then I sat in a meditation, and it'll kind of give you a calling of where you need to go if you listen. So Tom, my partner, he's like, I need to move. Like, I just need to go do something. I need to move. I just need to move this energy. Whereas I was like, well, I feel like I need to go inwards. I just want to sit in meditation. So I sat and listened to some meditative music, and I just bawled my eyes out, like cried and cried and cried. And normally it's only breath work these days that will kind of really make me like ugly cry. I'll cry normally, right, but like ugly crying, like just sitting in meditation. So after this ceremonial dose of just crying, I'm like, what? Like, how is this so similar to the feelings of breath work? And then I combined it with, so then I started taking the daily dose of it, and it kind of went through me like just whoosh, like every single day I was just so on top of everything. So when I normally have coffee, I was like a real coffee kind of snob. Anyway, I would kind of drink the coffee and then maybe just dip during the day, so like that kind of nervous system spike, and then I come back down. Whereas cacao, I would just be like on all day, but in a really like nice, energetic, loving, open way. I would just be, my creativity would just be kind of through the roof. That's how my podcast came through to me, was when I was drinking cacao. I would just be nonstop creating and doing things. My meditations would be a lot deeper. I'd start to visualize more things, which wasn't normal for me during meditation. Breath work, I dropped in so much deeper, so much faster. And then similar with breathwork, I was like, I have to find out more about this medicine. And I did my course, and luckily it was online because of lockdown. And then I started studying about this plant medicine and where it came from, and how it's kind of, working with the body inwards. And I've been drinking it every single day. I think it's the past 6 months now, maybe longer. And again, that's just kind of taken it to like, it's like the cherry on top for breathwork for me. Like I had it this morning during my session, and prior to my session, and it was it was really, really, really different to, I can now feel the difference when
You froze on me.
oh,
Just for a hot second.
yeah, that's all right. I was just saying, I can feel the difference, like when I don't have cacao, when I do have it, and I prefer myself when I do have it. So,
So what would you suggest for people who are new to it, who have never had it, who don't know anything about it, who are listening to you explain it and we're like, yes, like I have to try this. So what would you suggest that they do?
yeah, I just think, again, I think I've got 3 or 4 podcasts that I talk about cacao, and I also I talk with my teacher who was teaching me about cacao, and I actually spoke to the CEO of Keys Cacao on my podcast as well. So I'd suggest listening to them, and if anything they say resonates, then go for it, and if it doesn't, that's okay. But yeah, you can definitely order. I mean, obviously you order the block straight from Guatemala, so it's like the pure ceremonial grade cacao. And you just order it from there. I send out emails every single time someone orders it, so I'm like, email me, and I kind of give them like instructions on how to make it and how to sit with it.
Okay.
And how to set an intention. It's very similar for me to like making my coffee, but you're just making cacao. You can't have it with caffeine because it kind of ruins the effects of what the cacao is doing with the inner work. So I no longer drink coffee. But yeah, with cacao, you would just order the block. I'd send you an email on how to work with it, make it at home, and then you just sit with it, set an intention, and you sip, and you just listen to your body and listen to what comes through for you. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long does a block last?
For me, it's probably just over 2 weeks. So that's like 28 grams a day. And you don't have to have it every day. My friend Anna, who's also been on my podcast, she has hers like once a week, once every 2 weeks. For me, I just really enjoy how I feel having it every day. And I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. So it's a case of listening, just really listening to your body. When do you need it? How much do you need? Some people need less than the daily dose. Like some people can find it has a really strong effect on their body in terms of energy, and feeling really open. And that might be overwhelming for some people. Some people find they might need a little bit more. So yeah, it's just a case of sitting and listening to what your body wants and needs, and just being open to it. Cool. But it's good fun.
I think I might try it. So yeah, and I think I looked on your site, and you have like a little discount or something that's on your. I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah, so you can click like the link in my bio and it'll just take you straight to the like straight to the Kiss Cacao website, including my discount code on there. So yeah. But yeah, let me know if you get it and I'll send you the email on how to, and what to do with it.
I'm gonna click on it. I wanted to talk to you because I was like, I have no idea what it is. I don't know. I haven't listened to all your podcasts, but I've listened to several. And so I did watch, I know on Insta, maybe you have a post that's really recent showing how you make it, or maybe it was one of the videos on there.
I probably do. But yeah, I think episode 7 with Nicole, she was my teacher. I'd recommend listening to that one. She has really cool stories about cacao, and yeah, she'd be a good show to listen to. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's so exciting talking to you. Is there anything else that you want to share?
I just at the end of like conversations or shows, I just like to say to people, like, if anything resonates, if you want to try breathwork or cacao, and like I said, it's so new to people, especially in Australia, like just reach out and ask, like I spend most of my time answering a lot of questions from people. This is why I put out the podcast. I try and put out as much information as I can on my Instagram, just to keep people informed as to what it is. But if you feel like this is like a little nudge, or you're meant to listen to the show or our conversation, then just jump in and try it, and for people that are like, oh, I'm nervous, I always just say it's your breath, like it's on your side, and it's never going to give you anything that you're not ready for. And I've learned that over facilitating people. So, everyone's like go.
I think that one of the things that I'm excited about the most is just holding space for people. Like I said, I've been teaching yoga for a long time and doing, lots of workshops where we talk about really authentic, vulnerable things, and holding that space for people, also in Reiki and I do coaching, has been like one of the most humbling, rewarding experiences. But in a practice like breath work, where it is so, for me, it's, and again, this is just my experience and I've not gone through training, but every time I do it, it's so powerful. And so I feel like holding that kind of powerful space for people I'm so excited. I mean, it almost makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
Because because I know that experience that I had, like, and it's exactly what you said, like it's you and your breath, it's you and your breath in your body, and you can control that. And so I find that to be so empowering also. And just such a connection with that healing part of things that come up, that you are almost stepping into this mind-blowing, space where things just connect like they've never connected before. So I'm
so good.
So excited. I hope that we can stay in touch through my training so that I can.
Yes, please do. Please feel free to reach out anytime. I've had a few people reach out that have watched my videos, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to spoil it for you. You're just gonna have the most life-changing experience.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe
it's really cool. And you'll need to let me know when you're like doing, are you going to do classes online?
I think so. Like, I'm doing yoga classes online already. So yeah, I probably will. And I have a small yoga studio in my backyard. And so
amazing.
I'm so excited that when we get to that point where we can, be in person again, that we'll be able to have like really small, intimate groups in that space too. But
and you do Reiki as well, is that right? Yeah, because I was thinking, I always, it's something I'd love to like dive into as well, because I feel like that with breath work would be next level. That would be like cacao and breath work, it would just add like a cherry on the top of it. So that would be so powerful. Wow.
I feel like the Reiki though is still, when I when I do Reiki with someone, it's still, me more channeling that universal energy, and the person that I'm doing Reiki on is coming to me for that. I feel like breath work is like you coming to you for it.
It's true. Yeah.
It's like that ultimate, like you are your own healer, like in all aspects. And so that is what I'm really excited about. So it's interesting because I'm like seeing a flip flop where you're kind of maybe seeing it the other way, but it's
well, I don't, this is the thing, I don't know enough about Reiki to say it, but if I knew more about it, it's just always that it was like the cacao thing, the Reiki thing just keeps like just coming in, but not too much for me to be like, okay, I need to do some training, but it's there. I know I can feel it there. But I think if I understood how it worked a bit better, then I'd probably have my own way of looking at it. Just in my head, I just think, oh, that could be quite powerful, but maybe the work doesn't go together. So who knows?
I don't know. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll definitely let you know. Okay, so I have some other questions for you.
Yeah, go for it.
What was your biggest lesson from 2020?
My biggest lesson. See, 2020 was like an incredible year for me. It was a really good year. And I'm very good at kind of just adapting and going with the flow. So just adapt, go with the flow.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like I know the answer to this question. What is your go-to self-care ritual?
Yeah, well, that's actually funny because 2020 taught me that I have way more time to actually work on myself than I thought I did. So during lockdown, I created a whole hour for myself every single morning where I drink cacao. So I sit with myself with cacao. I then do some breath work, go into a guided meditation, and then do some journaling. So I have like an hour of self-care every single day.
Nice.
And nothing gets, that's in the schedule, nothing comes into that space. And that just really like skyrockets my week and my day. So yeah, it's a whole hour of kind of self-care that I lock in, but I also try and flow into that hour. So if there's something I can't do in that hour, I don't give myself a hard time about it. Sometimes I don't want to breath work. Sometimes I don't want to meditate. Sometimes, there's nothing for me to journal. So I've got a whole hour, and whatever I do in that hour in terms of self-care, even if it's just sitting, that's it. As long as I've got that time to myself, it really helps. And when you're holding space for people, you need to be that empty vessel or it gets in the way. So I find it really important for my work.
Definitely. Are there any books that you are really loving this right now?
Joe Dispenza's books. I'm obsessed with them. What else have I been reading? There was another meditation book and I just can't think of it. Yeah, I think his ones right now are probably like I just love his work, and I can never read enough of it because I feel like they're just great reminders. So that's probably Joe Dispenza's, all of his books. There's not one that's,
Cool. I'll have to look that up. And then last question, do you have a word or an intention for 2021?
The word that came to mind was just growth. So I don't know what that is, but it came up.
Nice.
So I feel like I think it was my boyfriend that said that 2020 was the year where we're kind of planting seeds, and 2021 is the year we kind of grow. So maybe it came from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where can people find you?
Just everything at Siobhan Lou Breathwork. And obviously my podcast is the Siobhan Lou Show. On Facebook, I think I'm under Siobhan Breathwork Meditation Facilitator.
Okay.
So
and we'll link all the spots. And then
thank you.
On your you have information about events that are happening, and you have information on how someone can work with you one-on-one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So, and my website is siobhanlou.com. So very easy.
Okay.
And it's got my podcast, my bookings, everything on
Everything.
there. All the things.
Everything. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna post your stuff, and hopefully people like go watch the podcast and the training. Like I just loved it, like every day. And it seemed like every day you were just like more like, I don't even have words anymore.
I need to go back and watch them, because I've actually not watched them since I did the course. So I should go back and watch them.
Yeah.
And be like, wow, it will be a good refresher for me too. And it'll bring me, like, anytime I smell like the David's oils, which I've got right here, it always brings me straight back to the training. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you just never...
I just bought like just the spray.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't bought the oils yet. So
yeah, so I've got like all the oils here, so like these
Yeah.
little ones. And I just love them. Yeah.
I can't wait to use them. I'm sure I will buy them. But
yeah, I had like,
yet.
it's funny, there's certain ones I've got like minimal, like the open heart and the expression. I'm like, I just put them on all the time, and I just like the smell of them, but yeah, they're great. I put them on for my daily meditations. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And everyone out there, thank you for listening or watching, and go and find her, find Cacao, find Breathwork. And all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.